Welcome to Start PT Now podcast to let you know what's going on in your world and my world. Your guy, my guy, Rye Guy.
Back again, joined by Franco Ortuno at Function with Franco, personal trainer for Aspen Hill Club here in Aspen Hill, Maryland. Franco, just a pleasure to have you back on the show. It's actually been a somewhat long hiatus for our standards, so definitely excited to jump back in, pick your brain, catch up on a few things, and cover some new topics as well.
Thank you so much for having me, as always. It's nice to be back. Like you said, it's been a while, but I'm happy to be here with you guys and looking forward to getting my brain picked today.
Well, listen, let's give the people what they want, and let's start with me personally. I've been interested in picking your brain because I've been out of the circuit of training for a little bit, and I've noticed that I'm a little tight. Some say that would be arthritic pain or just, I guess, low flexibility, but Rye Guy did a great interview yesterday with Dr. Olak. Is that correct, Rye Guy?
That's correct.
From Regenerative Orthopedic Sports Medicine here in Rockville. On that note, am I feeling arthritic pain or am I feeling not doing exercises over a 3-week period?
Sounds like you're hitting on both. I mean, it could be a combination of both. As we age, I'm not saying that you're old or anything. If anything, I'm
truly old.
I'm old also.
Smarter,
right?
wiser.
You know, of course, as we age, our body starts to get weaker, meaning you're going to get tighter sometimes. And especially after going a certain period of inactivity, if your body's so used to being active, right, then you're also going to start to feel those side effects of getting tight, getting weak, all that. I would say it's a combination of both.
Something interesting that Dr. Oleg said yesterday when we were talking about it is he said some of the early symptoms and warning signs, I guess you could say, that often get unidentified is you feel those sort of feelings like, oh, I'm sore after a workout. Oh, I've been like walking a lot. You keep feeling that steady pain and soreness, and so you end up having to rest more, and you keep kind of chalking it up as it's from this, it's from that. But realistically, it could be an increase in arthritic pain and ultimately arthritis. So something interesting there. Little shout out. Keep an eye out for that episode coming soon. Very cool. Bouncing off of that as well, I did want to ask, on your end as a personal trainer, I'm sure you deal with clients who are dealing with different chronic pains. In those cases, is there any way you found to monitor progress and maybe prevent flare-ups when working with those sort of clients?
Of course. So I'll notice, for example, certain things that I might be doing with them. I'm always asking them, I'm always monitoring them. Hey, how does this feel? Is this flaring up any sort of pain? Or, hey, on the scale of 1 to 10, how difficult was that? You know, questions like that, because it's always very important being able to measure how your progress is going or how your client is feeling with certain exercises, especially in this case if it's someone who's suffering from chronic issues. You asked me that question and it made me think of one client in particular who's been coming to me because she's been having a lot of pain in her knees and her ankles and all that. Right. So a lot of times, you know, I put together a program for her based off of her issues, based off of how we're going to combat that issue. And a lot of times I'll be like, okay, hey, this exercise, this is new. How did this feel? Did this trigger any pain? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. And then from there, it gives me an idea. Okay, hey, let me take a step back. Let me analyze. Let me reevaluate this exercise that we're doing. Why is it causing that pain for her? What is another alternative that I can do?
And in a case like that, are there any exercises or types of exercises you found to be most beneficial for improving the mobility or maybe even just reducing stiffness for a client with that sort of chronic pain?
Of course. And a lot of those exercises that I do that help them the most are exercises that I learned here at my time at PTSMC. A lot of mobility stuff, a lot of strengthening.
Functional exercises.
Very functional exercises.
Yeah, it seems to be the key word right now in fitness, functional exercising. And when dealing with arthritic pain, is there a better sequence of starting from the ground up, or should you just focus on the areas you're feeling that pain at?
I would start off focusing on those areas that you feel the pain at, because that's obviously going to be the emphasis, right? But then once you start managing that pain, it's always good to prevent any other issues that can come up in the future. So start working your way from the ground up, like you said.
And I think it's interesting that we're kind of getting into the realm of exercising, overcoming those pains, bringing it into the idea of weightlifting. I've been looking into a lot more the difference between heavyweight, low rep, and lightweight, high rep sort of exercise. And so I wanted to ask you, what are the key benefits for like a heavyweight low rep versus lightweight high rep?
Yeah.
How does that sort of affect muscle tone or muscle size per se?
Yeah, so definitely with the lighter weight, high repetition, so higher volume is going to give you more muscular endurance, right? So it's going to give you more definition, more toning. Now, with the heavyweight low rep, that's going to be more so for strength, putting on muscle, putting on strength like we talk about. So for me, with my clients, even with myself, when they come to me, hey, I want to get toned, I want to look good, I'm like, okay, let's put them through a program where we're going to focus on lighter weight, higher repetitions. I have another client that says, hey, I want to get my squat up in such and such time. I'm like, okay, let's focus on heavier weight, lower volume. that's the way to go.
If I'm trying to get like a nice, like lean physique,
Mm-hmm.
is there a proper balance or an ideal balance between the high rep, low weight versus low rep, high weight?
In terms of balance, I would say you want to focus more, like we talked about, focus more on that higher volume, lower repetition. But that doesn't mean shy away from the heavy weight, lower volume, because you still want to be able to get toned, but you still also want to look good, put on some mass, right? So that doesn't mean you can't do both. You can definitely do both. Right now, I'm on the same page as you, right? Summertime is right around the corner. I want to lean out. I want to look good. So to me, that means, all right, let me start incorporating more cardio, a more cardiovascular component into my workouts. And what that looks like is going more lighter weight, heavier volume, in the sense of maybe high intensity interval training or things like that. Doing more cardio like jogging, playing soccer, things like that. I like to go play. I've been playing racquetball a lot at the Aspen Hill Club, so that's been fun. Great way to burn a lot of calories. It surprises me. But for me, I'll have my days, in terms of how I structure my workouts throughout the week, I'll have my days, I'll be like, okay, you know what? Such and such day, I'm going to focus more on high intensity interval training or just higher weights. High repetition, lower weights. And then I'll have my days where it's more strength focused days. So maybe I'll pick a few compound lifts and go heavy weight on those, but lower volume, just so I can still maintain that strength without losing any of it. Because, of course, if I shift all my focus on just one thing, then you can be losing certain aspects.
And I'm glad you were talking about sort of like the running, the aerobic sort of side of things, because I've been doing more of that as well, and it's definitely been having an effect on my body. I'm feeling more sore. My legs especially are tighter through my thighs, through my calves. And I wanted to ask you, do you have, let's say, like a top 3 go-to stretches for cooling down after a high-intensity workout?
Full body movements. One of them is called the Spider-Man lunge with a rotation. I was actually doing this yesterday with one of my clients because I love it. I learned this when I was at the University of Maryland with the athletes that we used to work with. Number 2 would be definitely another lower body movement. I like to do hip switches, 90-90 hip switches. Big fan of those. And then if I'm saying one more for my upper body, it would have to be this stretch that I do on the TRX. I'll show you guys absolutely amazing stretch and different ways you can manipulate it to whether stretch out your upper body more or your lower body.
And once again, we're joined by Franco from the Aspen Hill Club here in Aspen Hill, Maryland. Now, Franco, I'm one of those guys who watches social media for silliness, and because of the feed, I get a lot of different exercise videos. I've seen the 28-day calisthenic challenge. Have you seen this?
Not necessarily, but I can already have an idea of what it is. Just body weight exercises for 28 days.
As the right guy was talking about slimming down and toning up, because I'm trying to go for an Italian water polo player physique. That's my goal. A 28-day program like that, strictly calisthenics, would that hurt or help me as far as bulking up? If I did it like with a weighted vest or something.
It's going to help you. It's only going to help you. Now, it's hard to tell if in 28 days you're going to bulk up as much as you might be thinking you're going to bulk up. Because, 28 days, 3 weeks, that's something. But it's all about maintaining that over time. The longer you can keep that program up, the more results you'll see.
And if I'm doing something like that, let's say I'm doing 28 days straight, I'm doing maybe 50 push-ups a day, that amount of repetition help.
You will see some mass.
I will see some mass.
You will see some mass,
Okay.
yeah.
And do you recommend diamonds out? I see all these different.
That's a good question. Actually, for me, when I do every day on Monday, for example, I finish off my chest days with a push-up variation. I call it the 3x10. So 3 sets, 10 reps close grip, 10 reps regular, 10 wide. So that way I'm hitting triceps, chest, everything, shoulders. And it's a great way. We talk about volume. You're doing 3 sets of 30 push-ups basically. That's almost 100 repetitions.
Absolutely.
At the end of the session. So great way to just burn out your chest at the end of the day. And then when you're looking at it in the long run, depending how many times you do that in the week, that is going to be a lot of volume. And 100 push-ups in a day, that's already a lot of volume.
Another question is, when you're doing these push-ups, and if you haven't been down on the ground for a little bit, should you max out to your arms start to shake, or should you put a set number to it to be more controlled?
I like to put a set number to it. There's nothing wrong with maxing out. Great. If you want to go for it, if you want to set that goal for yourself, by all means, go for it. But for me, I'm the type of person, I like to set a number for myself and actually hit that number. Because then once I actually hit that number, then I'm like, oh yeah, I feel good. I actually did it.
You were talking about calisthenics there, and I know that you've recently started teaching a new class. Is that right?
That's right. Calisthenics 101.
Talk to us.
The Aspen Hill Club, 6 to 6:45 p.m., Tuesdays and Thursdays for the whole month of April.
And this class is how long?
It's a 45-minute class. It consists of, it's circuit-based actually. So like we were talking about high-intensity interval training, it's a circuit-based class. We go through 4 circuits. In each circuit, there's basically like one calisthenic skill that we're working on that we're going to be progressing. So pretty much the first circuit, we're working on a planche hold. Second circuit, we're working on the L-sit. Third circuit, we're working on a pistol squat. So three different movements. I'd actually like to show you guys that. They're movements that are going to help you build solid core, a lot of leg strength, and then also big chest, big tricep.
Right, guy, anything else from Mr. Franco today, who's been kind enough to share his knowledge and bring us up to speed on some things we should be doing, especially if you're feeling pain?
I do know another thing we were talking about. You were recovering from an illness recently, and so it got me thinking, sometimes that transition coming back from your body being so weak, you're in bed for days on end. Sometimes that transition back into the gym is a tough one. Just to sort of touch the surface on that, and then we can get more into that on the next episode.
Absolutely. Yes.
Just wanted to ask you, like, how was that process for you, coming back from sickness and getting back into the gym?
So for me, when I was sick, the biggest thing that I learned was to rest my body as much and stay as well hydrated as I can. Now that means, obviously, if I'm sick, I'm not going to be going to the gym because I don't want to get other people sick. So yes, I did. I wouldn't say, honestly, no, I'm not going to lie. I did not lose that much strength as I have before. Now, of course, that's not to say that, when I get sick, I'm not losing strength, because of course that does happen sometimes. But this previous time, I fortunately did not get as weak as I thought I would. Typically, I see that weakness come in when I'm really sick for more than a week, and I have to miss out on the gym for at least more than a week. But this time it was only a few days, so thankfully I wasn't set back too much. But definitely when it comes back to going back into the gym, coming back from an illness, I'm doing the same things I was doing before, just at a lower intensity. So that could be lower weights, it could be less sets, like volume, like we're talking about. It could be going from 5 exercises in a workout to doing maybe only 2 or 3, things like that.
Yeah. Well, hey, sickness is going around. It's been going around for a minute here, and as it warms up, allergies are going to become a factor, so on and so forth. So I'm sure there's going to be a good portion of people that are going to be dealing with that same sort of struggle, getting sick, down for a couple days, and then trying to get back into the gym. So we're going to really dive into that next time, get your tips, your expertise on that, amongst many other things. So just want to say thank you again for joining us, Franco.
Thank you for having me.